Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout. Well, I'm in like day number, how many days has it been? I don't even remember. I've lost track of the number of days that I'm in quarantine right now. The movie theaters are closed, the mall is closed. You can't sit in any of the dining areas in the restaurants. All you can get is like takeout if you want. I can go to the grocery store. I guess I could just walk around the grocery store and pick up a couple of things. I can't even go hiking. I can't go to the park. I can't go to the gym. Can't do anything. So all I got to do is basically to watch Netflix, HBO Go, Disney Plus. Thank God for that stuff. YouTube, and make videos. But I found some really, really great news here. I am a huge fan of a guy that goes by the name of Don Bluth. Now, if you don't know who Don Bluth is, you should, because he's made some movies that you've definitely seen. He is an animator that used to work for Disney. He started his own studio called Don Bluth Studios, which I believe that's what it was called. And they did movies like A Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Thumbelina, A Troll in Central Park, An American Tail, Fievel Goes West. All those really, really great classic cartoons when you were a kid that you thought Disney made, but actually he made it. Oh, and the last one was A Secret of Nim, which is actually my favorite one. Well, back in the 80s, Don Bluth came up with a revolutionary idea, and that was to do an arcade game that wasn't really like digital looking, like how Donkey Kong was or Pac-Man was, but it was actually hand drawn, and it was like a moving cartoon. And that 80s video game was called Dragon's Lair. And if you saw season 2 of Stranger Things, when all the kids are in the arcade and they're playing an arcade game, the game they're actually playing is called Dragon's Lair. And if you were a kid that grew up in the 80s and early 90s, you've definitely heard of this game. It's really, really cool. It's a lot of fun, and the animation is awesome. Well, Ryan Reynolds has signed on to play the lead in a live action adaptation of Dragon's Lair, and it's going to be on Netflix. And this is after we haven't heard anything about this project for years. So I'm going to go back here, and on IndieGoGo, Don Bluth and his team, they actually ran a campaign here. Don Bluth and his co-creator Gary Goldman, and they raised over $731,000, over 7,702 backers, and it was a huge success. I mean, Don was like blown away. He couldn't believe how many people still had a lot of interest in this project. And so here it is, Ryan Reynolds in talks to tackle live action adaptation of 80s video game Dragon's Lair. This thing is going to be kind of like a funny version of Game of Thrones, probably. And I don't know, I'm just so excited about it because it's not just going to be one movie, how they intended. It's going to be a whole series. Netflix has closed a deal to pick up the rights to the game after almost a year of negotiations. Reynolds is in talks to star in and produce live action feature adaptation of Dragon's Lair, one of the most iconic arcade video games in the 1980s. After almost a year of negotiations, Netflix has closed a deal to pick up the rights to the game. Smart move. Roy Lee will produce via his Vertigo Entertainment. Dragon's Lair was at one point the most popular game in America. It hit the scene in 1983 and promised to revolutionize the arcade industry with its movie-style animation that hailed from Bluth, who would later go on to direct animated movies An American Tail, All Dogs Go to Heaven, and its envelope-pushing technology to use Laserdisc to advance the story. That's what I was talking about. So they utilized Laserdisc. If you remember, if you were like in grade school, your teacher probably got Laserdisc, and so the thing looks like a freaking record. It's like that big. It's ridiculous. But you could store a lot more data on that than just a typical arcade game. So that was pretty cool. It goes on. Let's see. This marks the third project with Netflix for Reynolds. Smart move, with the actor coming off the December unveiling of the action movie 6 Underground, and it goes on with Gal Gadot and Dwayne Johnson. And yeah, so basically, that's all that the Hollywood Reporter has to report on updates on the project right now. They just finished the negotiations, as they said, so they probably haven't really even storyboarded anything yet. I would expect probably at some point in the middle to the end of next year, we'll probably get a trailer, and then maybe at the beginning of 2022, we'll probably get to see the film finally. So I'm just so excited about it because Hollywood keeps regurgitating the same stuff over and over again. They keep expanding on old franchises, old properties that they know have, a title that people have heard of. Like, look what's going on with Star Wars right now. There's so many spinoffs, and it's just ridiculous. And I'm just glad that they're taking old material, whether it's an old book, whether it's an old video game, that nothing has been done yet with it. And they're finally taking it to the next level so that younger generations can see it and rediscover the old stuff, which happens a lot of times with a book. There's, a lot of movies that come out. A lot of young people don't read books, so they see a movie, they're like, oh, they Google it, they're like, oh, that was a book, and then it kind of leads them to reading the book. The same with this. They're going to do a live action movie, and kids now that play video games on their phone don't even play video games on TV anymore, or let alone in an arcade. They're going to be led back to this, and so hopefully they'll be like maybe there'll be like an app or something for Dragon's Lair, and you'll be able to play it on your smartphone or something. So I don't know. The possibilities are endless, and I'm just so glad that Ryan Reynolds is taking the bull by the horns, and he did it with Deadpool. Fantastic. He was hands-on through the whole thing. He wasn't like a typical actor that just would sit in his trailer and have a cigarette or something. He was busting his butt the whole way through pre-production, production, and post-production, and you could really tell because there's definitely a Ryan Reynolds flavor to the whole thing, and it's fantastic. I think he's a good actor. He's a great-looking guy. He's hilarious, which those three things together are really, really rare because there's a lot of people that are one of those three, but there are so few people on the planet that are all three. So I give him the best for this, and I'm going to be really, really excited to see where this goes. Well, anyways, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Thanks for watching.